Hello, everybody, and welcome to Office Hours with Tertulia. I'm Linda Hammes, your host for Office Hours and co-founder of Tertulia. And our topic today is the secrets of six and seven figure authors. And we're going to talk about what their voyage has been like, what moves the needle for them, and have them hopefully give some advice that is relevant for you as well. I'm going to start off with introductions. Lee, let's spotlight Lee. Lee Savino is a USA Today bestselling author, 70 plus steamy romance novels, left a day job in insurance sales at 30 to self-publish, and she now co-writes multiple popular series. She runs the Millionaire Author Mastermind, and she coaches writers. Hi, Lee.
Hi. So
Great
glad
to
to be
see
here.
you. Great to see you. And now we can now bring up Russell. Russell Nohelty is a USA Today bestselling author, publisher, speaker, also has done all kinds of fascinating entrepreneurial work. He publishes the Author Stack, incredible post this week in his newsletter with tons of interesting statistics that I got a lot out of. You should be following him. Co-founded the Writer MBA conference, the Capitalist, hosts multiple podcasts with over 100 episodes filled with knowledge. Hi, Russell.
Hi.
Great to see you. And Alessandra Torre, also a best-selling author, of course, turned down some six-figure offers, deals, and went all in on self-publishing, hit the New York Times list 7 times as an indie. Unbelievable. Her novel Hollywood Dirt became a film. She's the founder of InkersCon. If you haven't checked out InkersCon, you should. Authors AI and Jabinge Books has built a 20,000 plus member author community. Hi, we're together, and I'm going to kick it off here with a question that's just going back to your origins. Tell me about a time that you recalled that you decided to go all in on self-publishing. What was the tipping point for you, or why did you decide to do that? Let's start with you, Alessandra.
Absolutely. So I'll go back to my origin story, which is that I started writing in 2012. And for me, it was never a traditional versus self-publishing decision. I had zero confidence in my books and my writing. This was like a summer passion project. I thought, oh, I'll try writing a book. And I loved the idea of self-publishing because no one could know, I could do it in secret. I didn't have to tell anyone about it. I didn't need approval from anyone. If it was horrible, it was horrible. And so I picked a pen name. Alessandra is a pen name. I picked a pen name. I wrote a book, read it. It seemed pretty good to me. And I published it. Like I had a homemade cover and I published it. This was back in the Wild Wild West days. This was back in 2012. I would not recommend doing that now. But at that point in time, Kindles were new. There wasn't a lot of books, the market wasn't saturated. And as long as you had an interesting story, there was a chance of success.
So
And
you were going undercover. That was your objective.
yes, absolutely. Because it was like a steamy romance and I was this buttoned down boring woman, So like, I mean, nobody could know
Or
that I'd written this book, right? Yeah. So I published it and it did pretty well. It did well enough. I was selling like 30 copies a day, 15 to 30 copies a day, where I like got out my calculator and I said, if I wrote 10 of these books, then I could be making the same amount of money I was making in my other job, which was I was making $38,000 a year. So I was like, oh, I could write 10 of these because it only took me like a month and a half to write the first one. So I was like pretty excited about that idea. And then one day, and this has a point, the story has a point. One day I was leaving for a trip and I was like, I'm just going to rewrite my book description. Like the first thing I wrote, I just wrote it up there. So I just rewrote my book description, uploaded it to Amazon, and I left for a trip. And I drove 6 hours. And when I got there, I had sold 100 copies of my book, like in that 6 hours. And the next day I had sold 1,000 copies. And then I was selling like 3,000 or 4,000 copies a day. And it was all because of that one change. And it really made me realize how many people had been clicking on my cover, looking at the book description, and that had just been a broken piece. And so suddenly I was making like $50,000 a month off this book. And I started getting publishing offers. And then it was the decision, okay, do I go with a traditional publisher or stay with self-publishing. And I ended up going with a traditional publisher because they offered me $300,000. And I was like, I'll go all in. I mean, I'll go all in with this check. It was one of the biggest mistakes I made my entire publishing career was that deal. I never should have taken that deal. If I had the money to buy back those books, I would. Um, and moving forward, I was much more savvy, but I also had a big bank account where I could be more savvy because that money did give me a really long runway. It gave me 10 years of income where I could say, of course you immediately start spending more money. So, but it really made me realize like, okay, this is my new job. Like I'm going to stop looking for a job. This is my new job. And that's where my career launched.
I love this story. Alessandra, I'm just going to editorialize as we talk through this. People, tip number one, power of metadata. She changed her
Yeah.
description. I mean,
It
that's like
didn't
an
cost me a
extraordinary
thing.
story,
It
but
was
like we talk
15
about this
minutes.
all the time.
Yeah. It was 15 minutes that launched my entire career.
Okay, incredible. That's awesome. All right, Lee, what about you? How did you were working in insurance and writing books on the side, or?
Yeah, I actually have a degree in creative writing, which you do not need to be a creative writer. You just need to write. But my parents said I had to get a degree, and I wrote a spicy werewolf novel and gave it to my professors, and they were like, "Oh my God." And so I was destined to do this, but I told myself I couldn't. I was like, you have to get a real job, even though I was miserable. So for me, the turning point was just giving myself permission to be an author and then to do it my way, because I was watching my professors be like, you have to get an agent, you have to do the whole submission process. And it just didn't feel right for me. So I stalled out there, was like, I'll just get a job. And then gave myself permission to just go for it. We don't live in a permission market anymore. We give ourselves permission and we can go for it. And I love what Alessandra was saying because I'm learning. I write for me, I edit the book or shape it for the reader. And of course, I have editors that help me. So write for me, edit for the reader, and then I package it for the market. And you kind of have to hold the packaging lightly. It's not for you, and the market always changes. So your packaging on the back end, like you're just shaping it for the market and following whatever changes make sense, and maybe updating that over the decades that you're published. So I gave myself permission, and it's so interesting that we're not in a permission market anymore, but our professors, all our teachers still think, oh, you have to get permission to be an author. Oh, you have to get permission to allow yourself to write. And that's not true. You give yourself permission. So I did. And then 2 years later, I was like, I should be a six-figure author. Like, I'm watching people make money. I was reading those books, Alessandra. I was reading your books and loving them. And I was like, spicy romance, let's go. And I just said, I should be making six figures. And from that decision, I started marketing more. And like I said, you package for the market, you shape the books for the reader. And that got me more success. And it was a bit delusional to just be like, I should make six figures, I should make seven figures. But you make the decision first, and then your unconscious mind is like, okay, great. What are the people doing that doing? And you just heard, you're looking at metadata and you're fixing it so it finds more readers. And if it doesn't work, you have permission to fail again. Fail as many times as you need. We've all failed. Everyone on this call has failed. So
It's one of the beauties of self-publishing, if I may, because in publishing, there's often this, two-book deal if you're kind of a hot author. And then if your first book doesn't do well, is you get ghosted by your editors, you get treated poorly, and it's sort of like, and by the way, you didn't fail. It's just maybe your book didn't find the right market. Maybe it wasn't marketed to the right people. Maybe it wasn't a great book and your second book is a better book. I mean, there's like many, many permutations to that. And it sort of feels like a dead end. And the beauty of self-publishing is like, that's like to be expected. Experiment, rinse, repeat. Yeah, I think. Thanks for that. Russell, talk to us. What kind of books do you write and how did you get there?
Oh, what kind of books don't I write? Like I just did a book with Lee, a comic book with Lee. I started my career in comics. And what happened for me was publishers kept screwing up my launches. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this well, but I know I can at least launch the thing like when it says. Like I had one My first book was comic book was 4 issues. It was supposed to come out like March, April, May, June. It ended up coming out April, June, August, and like October. And then they at the end of that they were like, we can't do a trade run where they bind it all up in like a print run because it didn't sell well enough. I'm like, but like you didn't release the books when we said we were going to release the books. Like, what are you talking about? And then like it happened again, then happened again, and I was like, you know what? I'm just like I'm gonna screw this up, but like at least I can do it like myself. I can make this. I can forget to release a book on the right day. Like I don't know if I can release it on the right day, but I can at least forget to do it on do it on the wrong day. So, but I also like don't see the difference between really like traditional publishing and like self-publishing. So I have signed about 50 publishing deals in my career, probably a little bit more between anthologies and books that I did. Like Lee and I did her adaptation through a publisher. Like sometimes publishers just like they take on the BS you don't want to do. And that's great. Like there are some books, I mean, maybe hit the mark. The more a book is going to hit the market, the less I care about it. So like sometimes I'm like, this is a great idea. Like someone should run with this. And like I guess it's me, but like I don't want to bring it to bookstores. Like I don't want to call direct sales retailers, and especially with comics. Comics work in the direct market, which is all of comic stores, and so you have to like really go all in on like a direct market if you want to sell comics. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I I think that they can live together. Now, I've never had a big five book deal, but because I started my career like railing against publishers, people think that I'm completely anti-publisher, but like I'm just anti-bad publisher, and like most publishers are bad publishers. Most publishers give bad terms. It's not my fault that the publishers they don't have to give bad terms, and then I won't complain about them. But like if you give bad terms and you're predatory, like that doesn't mean that just because 80% of them suck, that like 20% of them are good. It just like, it sucks that like most of the ones that come across as good, when you actually are behind the scenes, you're like, man, you advocate for author rights all of the time. And these contracts are the most predatory things I've ever seen. And it's happened multiple times where it's like, it's very hard to trust a publisher because the more they advocate for author rights, the less good their contract is. And they're using it as a scapegoat to like actually like make people because like public authors don't look at the contracts. I can't tell you how many times I was going to publish a book back 10 years ago and I was like, you don't actually own this book. They're like, yeah, but the publisher doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, but that doesn't matter. They got eaten up by a bigger publisher, they got eaten up by like a conglomerate of like that doesn't even care about books. And like now you don't own you literally don't own you gave away perpetual rights for like very little guaranteed money or something. And like so it's like I literally can't publish. In fact, I was releasing a book on Webtoon, a web comic at the time, and I was like, I have to pull this down actually because like you signed the contract saying you had these rights and you just don't have them. And it is real scary how often people don't know, how often I've been in that scenario when people just don't know they
Like, what were you going to say, Lee?
I think in business, and if you're in indie publishing, you're in business, it's not either or, it's both and. And there are so many authors who self-publish and then they sell translation rights or they sell audiobook rights. And I think, Alessandra, you can speak to this. There was this myth that if you go indie, they're never going to want you as trad. And you just told the story. Like, that was a lie from the beginning. They want you to think that, but you aren't closing any doors. And you can give yourself permission now. And there are people signing print deals. They're like, I just want to be in Barnes and Noble, but you don't get any of my other rights. And you can move forward like that.
So
So
just make the terms that you want, you're saying. Yeah. Actually, let me just follow on that since you're talking, Lee. You said, I think I want to be a six-figure author and I'm going to manifest and then I'm going to work on. Talk about like what your learning curve was like. Like when you kind of set out and you said, I'm making this business work. Like, you mentioned metadata. Like we talk about this all the time in office hours. What are the like big pillars? What were you after?
well, I know everyone's in the right place with Tertulia because email marketing is the main marketing I do in my business because I just can't be bothered mostly day to day. I need to set something up once and then profit from it forever. So email marketing is the most important. It is introvert approved. Like you do not have to be out in front of people. I love that. And again, I don't make millions of dollars a year because of the books I'm writing right now. I make it because of the books I wrote in the past couple of years, like the groundswell of all of them. But my newsletter works for me in the middle of the night, going out selling my books. My aunt, we were once on vacation at a reunion. She's like, I just got an email from you. And I was like, what? Immediately went and removed her and my mother-in-law from my spicy romance email list. But yeah, I was not sending that email. It was automated. And so you can set stuff up like that and always be selling to your audience without you working. You just have to focus enough to set it up the first time and do it right.
But how did you build your list? So
So
you are originally on Amazon too, right? So it's like you didn't.
and I say, if you want this extra juicy, spicy scene, you want to meet the baby, go ahead and sign up to my email list. And usually giving them a cookie, give a reader a cookie, or it's called a reader magnet. I give them something in exchange for signing up, and Tertulia can do that beautifully. And that's how I build my list. And even when I translate my books into German, because I exploit those rights myself, I make sure the German freebie gets translated. So I just sent out an email to 5,000 German people using the translated phrases that I have, the three of them that I have, to be like, get this book now, it's on sale. But again, I built that list in my sleep because I set up this freebie and I just had whatever was in English translated. And I make quite a lot of money from the Germans. I love them. I want them to win. I know they're out, but I want them to win.
Yeah, it's going to be a little. We're going to have to wait 4 years for them to win, but praise. Okay. Um, Follow
I
on to that. Oh, go for it,
oh,
Russell.
I was gonna say I had the opposite experience with growing my list. Like I was very active. I actually just got off a consulting call right before I dropped in here, and like there's a lot of people who just want like passively growing their list, but like if your list isn't growing, you can actively grow your list. And also, there are fewer weird fantasy readers than there are steamy romance readers, like just mathematically. And it's the easier it is to find people in your genre, like the more your list grows because there's just more of them. And the weirder your book is, and my books are very weird. They're like mythology with fairy tales and like multiple dimensions, like they barely coherently like the gods are like a stand-in for capitalists. It's a whole thing. And like people do like that book, but it's harder to find those people. So if you have a similar problem, like they you can actively go out and grow your list through like Book Funnel or Story Origin or any of the million other like do giveaways I have tried everything. You can go to like a platform like Substack and be like, who are people on Substack who would be good to collaborate with? And like there are aggregators that like will say like the Substack bookstore that you can just go and look at all of those people who like have fiction books and be like, oh, I'll bet they also have a Substack. I'll bet they have an email list. I bet like I could collaborate with them or share their post or do all sorts of things. So like we often say grow your list and do a reader magnet. But like part of that is dependent on how many people are reading your books. At the beginning, if 3,000 people are reading your books, buying your books and reading them a day, there's going to be a big, nice influx of like people on your email list. But like if three people are buying them a day or zero people are buying them a day, like there are strategies to like juice your email. Like there are a billion strategies for how to actually get people on your email list and have I was adding at one point like 20,000 people a month to my email list and my like weird subgenre of fantasy because like I was out there actively making it happen. Like I was going to conferences, like I was doing Kickstarters, I was doing all of this stuff. People go, "How did you do that?" I'm like, that was the only option. Like it's the only option to like to when you're not getting organic growth, you can make it happen. And you just have to like make it happen sometimes. Most people on this call are probably not writing a genre that will have a massive fan base from book one. It might take 4 books, might take 8 books, might take 10 books in one series before like people catch on. And like that's a long time you have to wait if you're not organically juicing, trying to like figure out where to go. Her hand up. I want to hear what Alessandra
Alessandra,
well,
has to say.
all I was going to say is I was just going to tack on one sentence to what Russell was saying, where he said your series might not take off until book 5 or book 6 or book 7. And I just wanted to say, and to be honest, that is a fantastic time for it to take off because heaven forbid your series, like you write one book of a 10-book series and it goes bonkers. And then you have to try to engage like those people and keep them motivated and around for when you eventually publish book 2 and book 3 and book 4. So it's not like a bad thing. A lot of authors are like, oh, I wish my debut book out the gate was, hugely successful. And I'm very grateful that that happened for me. But to be honest, that I had that spike and then I had the New York Times list with like my 7th or 8th book. And that was the perfect time because then I had my website in place. When my first book with Mockers, I didn't have a website. I didn't have a newsletter. I had like thousands of readers that I just lost because I didn't have another book to sell them, So it seems hard, but in a perfect world, like to me, you would hit your moment of success from book 7 on, because then you have the platform and you're ready for it and you have other things to sell them and you've become a better writer. And that's really, there's nothing bad about that. It's actually like strategically a great time to hit your stride. That's all I was going to say. I was just going to tack on to what Russell was saying about that.
And your ads will work better and be more profitable on your 7th book in a series. Like at some point between book 1 and book 300, like your ads will break a profit. I don't know what that number is for you. It's probably going to be at least 4. So
Yeah.
like, what do you do? Like, let's say you're waiting till book 4 to start running ads. Like, what are you doing for book 1 to 3? Like, you could build the 50,000 person mailing list in that time with like you could just give away. So the number one strategy you said, like give away 1 million books. Make that your goal. Like that book that someone just wrote as their debut, like give it away to everyone. Just like give away 1 million books, you'll make $1 million. Like it's the easiest way.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. You guys are all nodding your heads that early giveaways is the way to go to at
Early
least get
giveaways,
an email.
especially if you have something else to sell them and you can capture their information. Like, so but even if what you just have is book 2 on pre-order, like, I mean, or a lead magnet in the back of book 1 that has like a deleted scene, like Lee said, but I think new authors are like, so, they spend a lot of time and money and effort on the book. Like, I get it, but like, don't be afraid if you give that book to 1 million people that means you lost 1 million sales, because those 1 million people were not going to find and buy your book, typically.
Yeah.
My best tip is, I would say, my best marketing tactic is write in a series and a well-written series. Like spend the time to understand the market. I see a lot of people writing books that they don't really know the audience they're writing for. They don't read that audience and write in series. I wrote standalones for like the first 20 books I wrote, and it makes it so much harder to run ads. It makes it so much harder to build. And I wrote all over the place. Like I wish I had found a niche and I had stuck to that niche, because instead I just wrote like whatever I wanted to write. And that meant that I had like 5 different types of readers. And that made my job a lot more difficult. I've become much more intelligent in my last 7 years. And as a result, my income, I only write 1 book a year and I make $1 million a year, and it's mostly backlist, like. It's all backlist pretty much. It doesn't matter whether that one book I write a year is successful because the rest of my books are going to carry me.
Counterpoint, if you write really weird books and a bunch of things, you can just put them in a series. You just like put like no one's gonna know like that it's not like as long as it has similar feelings or it's in a similar genre. This book, my biggest series, the God's First Chronicles, every book has a different main character. Like sometimes they like come together and like honestly, the weirder you write, the more important a series is because it's going to take more books. The weirder a book is, the more expensive it's going to be to find that person and the more likely it is to like take a long time for it to pull up. So like you can write a weird anthology series just like with like different main characters, but like it's really important to write a series that is like that in a series when you have a popular genre, but if you have a weird, someone was talking about humorous fiction, and I also kind of write that. So it's like it might take you 10 books to break through. So like really like it's way more important for you than it is for someone in like yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is the packaged for the market sort of idea. I just ran a book marketing boot camp and we talked a lot about this because when you are going to focus on marketing, you're focusing on like the market, which we are the market, but your opinion and how precious you are about the cover you like doesn't matter. Write the book for you, shape it for the reader, package it for the market. And there's 5 levers we talked about pulling. Your book cover, your blurb, which Alessandra already talked about, the book description, you can always change that. And then if you're running ads, the other 3 are the creative, so the image or the video, and then the text, the copy, and then the audience. And more, especially for Facebook and Amazon, you can't even choose an audience, but even on Facebook, you can't really choose the audience anymore. Your creative finds the audience. Their AI scans your image, your video, and your text and goes, oh, you want women romance readers. So it's that packaging that signals in less than a split second, like this is for you. This is for you, you lovely reader. And you're going to get that wrong, and it's okay. Like just give yourself permission to fail forward. And I love to bundle things up and go, okay, well, the beautiful flower cover didn't sell, so let me try the sexy man chest. And those will actually hit different audiences. So I'm like, well, it's not either or, it's both and. I will have both the individual books with pretty flowers and one big compilation with a hot guy on it. And like,
but it's also easier in some ways. Any particular points of view on how much to invest early on ads, when to start advertising, lessons learned, battle scars from advertising?
Battle scars. Okay, here's my best one. You don't have to advertise your book. Like you can advertise a giveaway that you're running. You can advertise like it's like some other thing that's not necessarily your thing. You can advertise for building your mailing list. Like you can advertise not on Amazon or on Facebook. Like you can advertise by like going to a local like bookshop and like dropping off flyers. Like there's a million things that might work. What doesn't work is nothing. Like that's for sure. The 99% of times that I'm on a consulting call, when we get through what are you trying? I'm like, this is great news. You're doing nothing. So like you have nothing but upside.
You can only grow from there. Alessandra.
I would say my best tip or thought with ads is what or kind of what not to do is I see a lot of authors that are running ads and their book isn't selling on its own. So if a book isn't selling, it's like a traffic problem, it's a conversion problem, or it's a read through problem. The book prior to it isn't doing its job of selling. The book prior to it should kind of be like a mini ad for that book. So the book prior to it disappointed them or for some reason, and they were like, I'm not going to continue this series. But if it's a book 1 in a series, it's a traffic or a conversion problem. And a traffic problem is kind of our job, right? Our job is to send that book traffic. But if it's highly converting, by converting, I mean a high number of people who come across that book somehow, decide to click on it, look at it, and buy it. And if that's a certain percentage, then the retailers will provide traffic for you, right? They'll be like, oh, this book's a winner, and they're going to send it traffic. But if you have a book that is getting traffic and it's not converting, then running ads to it is not going to help that, because you're just going to be giving it more traffic, and it's not but it's going to be earning, spending money. And the ad platform isn't really even going to be sending more traffic to it because it's going to see it. So you have to make sure your conversion is taken care of. And if your conversion is great, but you're just not getting clicks to it, then you're perfect, in my opinion, candidate for ads. But you really need to have, if that book is not in a series, you can run ads, you can have conversion, but you're still going to be spending like $4 or $5 for every sale. And if you don't have another strong book with glue that's the next book that they can buy, like, you're going to lose money on ads. So it is much harder if you write standalones to make money on ads, because you're competing with authors that have 10 books in their series, and they can afford to spend sometimes $10 on a sale because they know that they have it, and you just can't do that.
You're just not competitive. Yeah, that's so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Donald?
Hang on, wait. I want to ask if Lee can tell the story, because you told this great story on our podcast that was like, I gave my ad person all of my books, and they said, "This is the one. This is the one to like to do." Can you tell that story? Because I think it's really, really effective, because you have so many books.
Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, I should be advertising every single book. And I worked with an ad guy I really, really trust. And then he stopped running Facebook ads, and he goes, Lee, only advertise this book one of your top series with very excellent metadata. It's the Bad Boy Alpha series. Everyone who reads paranormal romance knows exactly what they're getting into when they see those. They're basically keywords. And book one had great packaging. And that's another reason I love long series, is just make sure book one is really, really optimized. And if you write a mean book, then they're going to want more. And I can be a little bit more goofy, like later in the series, and do like animated covers or illustrated covers and just be weird. And I have to let the weird out. So get that book one really, really tight. Focus all your efforts on it. And the ad guy was like, this book gets the ad dollars. Don't worry about anything else in your catalog. It's like, great.
Yeah.
You're muted.
Lydia, you're muted.
Linda,
Great.
you're muted. Okay.
Thanks, guys. No, great, incredible advice. Donald asked in the chat about video for YouTube. Are you doing book trailers? Book trailers, yay or nay? Or are they just repackaged for advertising? We see nay, nay, nay. Okay. What about YouTube in general, though?
I haven't had any success on it. I don't know any author that has, but potentially it's just not in my genre. That I could see maybe a different genre. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even have social media, so like, I don't know. I'm not on any platform.
That's incredible.
So, I mean,
But
Lee and I put our
you're doing it without
podcast
social
on
media.
it, but like,
That's
yeah, I
incredible.
mean,
The only thing I've heard about YouTube is some people put their audiobooks on YouTube, and and it's like a way to give it away for free, right? So it kind of speaks to Russell's give away 1 million copies. And some of them earn money, because someone watches that video for 17 hours. That's the only thing I've heard.
yeah.
And if it
Spend
has
80% of your time. Oh, go.
Oh yeah, if it has too many spicy scenes, you can't even do that.
Right. It would only work for certain genres.
Yeah. The only thing that I know about YouTube is spend 10 times longer on the image than you do on anything else.
Like what shows
The first
the
image.
results.
Yeah. Like
Thumbnail.
that's
The thumbnail.
and anything that I have to spend 80% of my time on a thing that's not the content of it, I want no part of.
I understand that. Okay, so we've talked about YouTube. Russell, you're not on social. Lee and Alessandra, can you say a word about how important social organic has been for you? Not so much the ads, which we've talked about, but just generally growing a following over time. Was that really important medium? How much effort did you put into it? Did you abhor doing that? Did you like doing that? Thoughts?
Do you want to go first?
I really want to hear what you want to say though, because you have a whole Goodreads class that's excellent.
Yeah.
But I chose a platform I liked, which was Facebook, and I wanted to be social on Facebook. That was back in the olden days. I am older than I look, maybe, but I was all over it and ignored Instagram entirely because I didn't have the bandwidth. I was having babies and writing romance. It happens, but I would say social media, pick something that you love, a platform that you like to be social on, and delegate everything else. So someone said, what about YouTube? And I was like, I am making all these videos for ads that then I post. I have my assistant post on TikTok and Reels. It's like anywhere you can put video. I don't think we're doing YouTube. So it is a like, let me work once and then just duplicate as many places as possible. I wouldn't spend attention on it unless I was in nonfiction. I think YouTube and nonfiction might be a really nice dovetail. But yeah, that's my advice for social media is like grow your newsletter, focus on the writing, focus on the newsletter. And if you hate social media, just stay off of it and retain your attention span and your brilliance. And if you love it, use it, but don't put pressure on yourself to do everything because then you'll do nothing.
Yes, I do have something to say about social media, which is if you're going to use a platform, you should play the game of the platform. Like if you're unwilling to play the game of the platform, you shouldn't complain that that platform is not like advertising your thing or like use like just don't use that platform. So like I'm not willing to play any of the games of any of the platforms. And so I'm like, well, why even spend my time on a platform that I'm not willing to like play the game of? And that includes Substack. For a long time I was on Substack and then Substack's algorithm changed and I was like, I'm not getting any benefit here. So like I left. So, and I I really it confuses me that people spend so much time on social media and they don't use it the way that the thing wants to be used. And if it changes and you're not willing to change with it, it doesn't matter if you've been there for 15 years. Like just like stop using that platform. No one's putting a gun to your head to use it. It's like you're supposed to use it when it works for you and then like not when it stops working for you. It
That's a
stops
great
working for you.
point. That's such a great point. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. Alessandra, do you have anything else to say on social?
Yeah, I was just I love what Russell just said about play the game because I'm actually doing a webinar this weekend on social media, and the first part is like, should you even do it? Because there are authors that make money on social media, but there are 100 times that many authors that are not on social media in any way, shape, or form. And it's the most important thing is you have a web, you don't make it difficult for someone to find out about your books and how to purchase them. As long as you have a website, I would have a profile on each social media that has a link to your website or a link to your retailer page or whatever, whatnot, so that if someone tags you, I would have one post that's pinned that's about your most recent release. So if someone tags you and someone clicks on your name, they can see how to buy the book. But other than that, if it doesn't, it can be a humongous time suck. That being said, I thought I have success on TikTok, and that's the only platform I'm on. Early in my career in 2012, 13, 14, 15, I had a really active reader group on Facebook. I used to be and have always been a big advocate for Goodreads, but recently I Googled my book and Goodreads did not come up in the top 3 search results, which it used to have fantastic SEO, and its SEO has dropped dramatically. So I'm not sure. I think someone should be active on Goodreads in terms of spend 15 minutes a month there. But other than that, you can get everything you need to get done in 15 minutes.
That's so helpful. I love it. How freeing. I feel lighter.
Hang
Really
on, so
important.
I want to say something about to Lee because Lee, like what I learned from Lee is if you don't want to be on a platform, but you still want to be on a platform, there are people who are already good on a platform you can just hire to be good on that platform for you, and like that is a like. I know, like it's always like a money versus money in versus money out situation, but like, yeah, when you have the money to spend on platforms and you want to be on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and you don't want to be on those platforms, there are people that spend all day on those platforms that like you could hire to do a better job than you.
Absolutely. Really important question. We have been talking about sending traffic, or, you just mentioned, Alessandra, making sure people know how to buy your book. What are your thoughts on sending people to a retailer versus sending people to your site versus which retailer, which platform? Where do we all stand on all this?
Yes, both and. I mean, if you're exclusive in Kindle Unlimited, don't break those terms of service, but your paperback can be everywhere. Your audiobook can be everywhere. And if you're not in Kindle Unlimited, your ebook should be everywhere. As many places as you can. and while retaining your mental health.
I've heard the argument over and over, like, well, why would I have this pit stop at my website when I can send them right to Amazon to get it? And I'm like, well, you're not selling batteries that like they're going to buy once on Amazon with one click. You're developing a relationship. And so to me, it's absolutely crazy not to send them to your website, where if they then choose to hit the toggle for Amazon because that's where they want to buy, fine. But if you can get them to buy from you directly there, join your email list, read your blog, all learn about your series. I think I don't quite understand the rationale, I have to say, going to Amazon instead
I
of your
think it
website.
depends if I agree 100% if their website is optimized for that and if they have a beautiful website that makes that easy. A lot of author websites are rough, or not updated, like Tertulia makes it easy. But a lot of websites were built on WordPress sites or themes, ages ago, and they look really bad. So that would be, I would just make sure your website is doing what it should be doing, if that's what you're
Yes.
saying.
I would also say that if you're in a category that a retailer will like probably always be supporting in an equal or bigger measure, like they want, like there, it's very popular. It's likely to continue to be popular forever. Like maybe there's a more of a reason to be on, like to send directly to retailers. There used to be a really great reason to go to retail to send traffic to retailers because like no one was doing direct sales.
Yeah.
But like what future you will thank you for sending people and getting people on your mailing list. Like the reason why I'm able to not be on social media is because I have 40,000 people on my mailing list. And I have 40,000 people on my mailing list because like I had 300,000 people on my mailing list and like 90% of them have unsubscribed over the past decade. And like the people who want to be there are still there. So it really it's so interesting to me when people don't want to have like be on social media, but they also don't want to have a newsletter and they also don't want to like grow their presence. Cause I'm like, what you need something. And they go, oh, your career works. It's like, yeah, I cannot be on social media because I spent 10 years like building the mechanisms. Like I've been on every podcast, I've done all of these things, and like I have deep connections. I think the only virtual conference I've not spoken on is InkersCon. And like we're gonna hopefully change that one. I'm gonna pitch. I'm
I
gonna,
think you did. Maybe we
did
did
I?
mastermind. Maybe that was it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So like, but like
But
I'm
we can
everywhere.
change it anyways.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Yeah.
let's change it. So like I am all of the places. I have so many books out. I've done all of these things. I've been on I have hundreds of podcasts. So like people can still find it later. And what has happened to a lot of authors in their life, in my life, is they don't focus on their mailing list. They don't focus on their own audience. They make $1 million year one, $2 million year two, and they make $200,000 year three, and they make $40,000 year four because like that the algorithm changes. Like your books don't change, but like you're probably gonna you got like 2 good years of like a trope being a trope before like things change, and now it's like 2 weeks before like a thing changes. So like the if if you are do not have your own audience and you are having success and you're simply saying my audience won't come to my website, what I say is then it's not your audience. Like you are dancing for the algorithm's audience, and like that's okay, but like your audience will come to your website to buy your books because they want to hear about you, not like what the thing is that is hot that day. And like that is a vast oversimplification of like the actual thing that happens. But if somebody wants to hear about your work, they will come to your website. And I spend more time complaining to people that they don't have a mailing list or you have to go to stupid Instagram or something to see a thing about them than like complaining that they sent me too much email.
Preaching to the choir over here.
Yeah, please.
I'm so with you. Yeah.
Please. I have this whole like millionaire author marketing course. It's free. I will sum it up for you. Get a newsletter and get a good reason for people to land on it. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tertulia makes it really easy. I'm not tech savvy, so take away that excuse. And if we talked about ads, but it's like, wait a second. If that's top of funnel. And I want to make sure you have a place for people to land and be on your audience. So please set that up first before you even think about like posting or hiring people or running ads. Like get the back end really, really, really set up.
Great. A lot of questions in the chat here. Let me go round robin. One, people are asking about, a newsletter that's about me and my personal life, or how often should I write? Sounds like Russell, you're a big proponent of just like building that relationship, being personal, like letting people in behind the curtain. Any thoughts anybody has on frequency? I know that's very personal too, and depends, people have day jobs.
I mean, my frequency is you should have as frequent as you can to keep yourself top of mind in the people's in your audiences. So weekly is my preference, but like some people do bi-weekly, some people I know do daily.
Mhm.
Like, but what I will say is everyone who says they don't have anything to email their subscribers is wrong. There's
Absolutely.
literally an infinite thing. Like every day something happens that you could email to people.
Great. Yep. Couldn't agree more. People want to know about your thoughts on piracy, giving away books. We have people asked about DRM, which, I have a point of view on. Have any of you encountered piracy issues, or do you have concerns about
I
that?
can speak on this. And my opinion is piracy is going to happen, and those people aren't going to buy your books anyways, and it's not worth your time and effort to fight it. You can put DRM encryption, you cannot put DRM encryption. I put it on there, but they can get through it. It's I mean, it's not like it's something that's going to be difficult for them. I stopped caring about it a long time ago and just viewed it as maybe this person will read my books and recommend it to someone else. Maybe they'll comment on a TikTok video, maybe they'll make a video or a post about it, and maybe the person who sees that will buy my books. But it's it's just it's just a known evil. It's like littering. Like it's going to happen, and
Yeah.
we can only control what we can control, and I would rather spend my efforts on something else.
I agree.
Unfortunately or fortunately, it's probably not going to happen until your book reaches a certain level of success.
Yeah.
So it's something that is going to happen.
The DRM creates and problems for readers. And so I'm with you on that. Question, are paying book influencers worth it? Thoughts on book influencers?
Not until you have traction. Maybe.
I
A
did.
Then
small
maybe.
a small influencer can go just as viral as a big influencer. Like it's a great way to throw away money. I'm not saying you won't earn it back, but I would rather spend that money in different ways, or I'd rather spend that money courting 100, like sending 100 signed copies of a book along with a bookmark to 100 influencers that have 5,000 to 15,000 followers than rather pay one or two big influencers that look at their views on their videos. And even the ones with like 1 million followers sometimes have videos with 20,000 views. I mean, you have to do the math and think about so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, agree.
Lee, you had your hand up before too. I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to say anything on DRM or something else?
I don't use DRM, and what Alessandra and Russell were saying about piracy is absolutely right. My one regret is when I looked at YouTube and saw all the people pirating my audiobooks. I spent time trying to get them taken down only for them to repopulate overnight. And then I stopped producing audiobooks. So I let it shut me down. And that was a huge mistake. It cost me a lot of money. But I just had this like, they're going to just pirate it. Yeah, well, I'm going to make a bunch of money and they're just going to pirate it. I'm going to ignore them. So please don't let it shut you down. Keep moving forward and let them do what they're going to do. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
I have a really weird take on this, which is like you should just put the books up on the pirate sites yourself and make them come back to your website. Like you just like use the
Just
people.
half of them though, like end it on a cliffhanger and be
Yeah,
like,
somebody big did that, but they were all like like they were
Yeah.
missing the last 15 pages or something. I don't remember who did it, but it
That's
was somebody.
brilliant. I love that. I love that. I love that counterintuitive spin. That's fantastic. Okay, we had a question from somebody that's basically my question in our lightning round. This went by way too fast. Will you guys come back?
Sure.
Anytime.
Come back when we're rolling out so much stuff. We're rolling out our in-person sales. We're rolling out selling merch. We're going to grow so much, and we're going to talk about all that. You don't want to be on social, then like look for those partnerships. Find people in your community of interest. Any other thoughts that come to mind that are kind of turnkey things that have worked for you over and over, or recent learning you have, or even better, something you tell your clients or people you coach early on that they should do when they're trying to build their audience?
I answered a question in chat and I can just say it here. Someone said, like, if I was starting from scratch, what would I do to try to get to six figures as fast as possible? And I would say, first of all, I would write a business plan and I would set goals, but I would engineer a series for success. I would write it for a specific market and a specific audience. And before I wrote a word, I would just go ahead and know how many books. It doesn't have to be a solid number, it could be open-ended, but how many books I was going to write per year, and who they were going to be marketed for, and how I plan to send traffic to that series. And I would make that series where I had multiple entry points, and I already knew what lead magnets I could use and that sort of thing for it. And then I would just write those books and focus on sending as much traffic as possible to those entry points in the series, whether those are free lead magnet entry points or whether it's book one in the series.
Up level your network. That's the easiest way to hit six figures. I don't know one group of people that has like everyone that I've ever met who was a six-figure author is like, I was the third person in my group. I was the fifth person in my group. I was the first person in my group. Then the rest of them all like once one of you figures out the thing, then like all of you can figure out the thing together. But like it is it is criminally under talked about how important up leveling the network, both like up leveling who you were around and also taking the people who you are around and bringing them up to like your level is to like actually building a career because like we don't rise to our to the top, we fall to the floor. Like we don't rise to the ceiling. Like what you really want to do to keep a career like sustainable is raise the floor of how low you can fall. And you can fall only as far as the lowest person in your chain, in your network. If everyone's a six-figure author, if everyone in your network is 20,000 subscribers, if everyone is like killing it with ads, you can turn to those like four people and be like, hey man, having a tough month. Like, can you promote this thing? Can you do this thing? Can we like work on a collaboration together? And like you do that first when you're like not, you look at the people you're around and you say, how do I up level all of us? And how do you up level me? And how do we all up level each other? And then it like works that way. I still literally use the same exact strategy today.
That's awesome. I love it. And by the way, I'm going to say, said it before, I'm going to say it again. We are working on some ways to enable that in the Tertulia community. And I think it's going to be game changing. So work with each other. You're in our Facebook group, you're on these calls, work with each other. Lee, last word's yours.
I have some beginner advice because everything that they said was so perfect. I was like, I'll just add to it. But my beginner advice is read a bad book because a good book will inspire you, but a bad book will motivate you. And bad is in the eye of the beholder. So read something and go, I could do this better. And then just go write and write your dreams. I do think that this career is a calling. So if you're like, I want to be a writer, I want to be an author,
Of course.
it is something put inside of you. And it is not coming from sanity for sure. So just know that and tend that light. And yeah, change your tribe. And just by showing up today, you did that. Like, because we're on a Zoom call, your brain thinks that we're all right in your face and you're looking right into our eyes and you are, and you're around 6 and 7 figure authors this way and people going full time, and that will change your identity because when you change your tribe, your brain wants to change to match the tribe. So you've done it, and just keep showing up, and you've got this.
Oh, what an amazing note to end on.
Can
That is
I
just
just,
so inspiring.
can I
Yeah,
just add
Alessandra,
one
please.
thing, Linda? Someone had asked in the chat, like, I still don't know how to increase traffic. And I just want to say that, especially if you're under a budget or you don't have a lot of money for marketing or you don't know where to begin, some of the easiest ways to increase traffic to your book is to put that book on sale for free or to put it at 99 cents or $1.99 And if you have the money, run a price promo company like FreeBooksy, or you can apply for a BookBub, or there are a lot of paid newsletters that will promote that sale. And that's just, or the retailer will promote it, and apply for retailer promotions. But that is if you're kind of stuck, or you don't have a lot of money for ads, or there's not a lot of learning curve, optimize.
Fantastic advice. Fantastic. Wow, what a great hour. I might even do some writing up there. Super, super
Amazing.
inspiring. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and please come back and join us again on Office Hours.